Our goal for today in math, we are going to continue to practice counting by twos. So today, you're going to make a choice of the way you count by twos.
Clear directions lay a foundation for children's learning and support their success in academics. In this video, we'll visit a first grade classroom and a fifth grade classroom and observe teachers Kirsten Howard and Rhonda Eckenroth as they guide students toward independent and engaged learning. You will learn about 3 essential elements of giving clear directions. Cue students to stop and listen, clearly name expectations, break directions down into steps, and check for understanding. An agreed-on signal for quiet is a useful tool for gaining children's attention. First grade teacher Kirsten Howard uses a chime to get children's attention and help them make the transition from quiet time to math.
First graders, we are going to put away our quiet time notebooks, push in our chairs, and come sit in our easel spaces to get ready for math. Close your notebooks and I'll pick a table to start.
Fifth grade teacher Rhonda Eckenroth uses a hand signal before giving directions for a language arts activity. Notice how Rhonda waits until she has the children's full attention before speaking.
Okay, you and your partner have a pair of homonyms.
When you begin giving directions, use age-appropriate language to name and describe expectations. It's helpful to include a brief statement of the goals of the activity, along with information about what children will do. Kirsten Howard has written the information about a math activity on the whiteboard and reviews it with the children.
Let's look up at our choice board. Your goal today, and if you want to read it with me, that would be awesome. I will count by twos. Here's an example. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And it would continue and continue, exactly. And we'll stop at 20. 18 and 20, and stop there. Now you have 3 choices for the tools that you can use to practice counting by twos. You may choose the insects. You may choose the animals. You may choose buttons. Take a moment, plan what would be the best tool for you to use, and then you're going to get the chance to come up and put your card on our board to make your choice. All right, put your thumb up when you're ready. Emmanuel and Anthony, come on up and put your card up.
Are we going to look?
Rhonda Eckenroth gives directions for the first part of an activity that will help children practice using homonyms. Children will work together with a partner that they chose during morning meeting.
You and your partner have a pair of homonyms. You are going to be given about 7 minutes to choose how you want to share that pair with the class. How do you want to share that pair with the class? So you have these choices. You could write a sentence, a meaningful sentence using both words. You could draw a picture that uses both of those words. Or you could act out something that uses both of those words, or any combination of the 3. So if you wanted to draw a picture and then write a sentence to help explain your picture, that would be okay too.
It's easy to overwhelm children with too many directions given at once. In fact, research tells us that listeners can only hold a few steps in their minds at once. You'll see both teachers give a few steps at a time and check for children's understanding before continuing. You'll also see both teachers using modeling to clarify expectations. In the following scene, Kirsten Howard breaks the instructions for the math activity into 2 parts and has a student demonstrate the first step before she continues with instructions.
If I chose buttons or the small animals, I would be using one of these little cups. And who can remind me, what would I do with this cup? Anthony.
Scoop it.
Okay. Would you demonstrate? You used expression when you said that. And now what?
You count by twos.
Right. And when you count by twos, we have to take all the things out of here, don't we?
Yeah.
So we'll take them out, put them on the table. And is this counting by twos? Is this counting by twos?
Yes.
All right. Anthony, thank you. Once you've done it, you have to double check. So if you remember, scoop, count, double check. Again, scoop, count, double check. One more time. Scoop, count, double check. And then you can start all over again. Ramon.
The full job. The scoop, count, double check, and new scoop.
We could turn it into a 4-part job. Scoop, count, double check, and you said
New scoop.
there we go. So here I have the large animal counters. I'm going to use a big cup. And what do I need to do?
Scoop it.
Scoop it. And it's a little hard, so when you use the big cup, you might use the big cup and your hand, because this scoop I only got 2, and that's not challenging my brain to count by 2s. We all know that one. So I'd probably scoop my hands in, and now I have a scoop that I'm ready to count by 2s. What questions do you have before we start our practice at tables? Kyra.
How many cups are they? 2 or 1?
There are
3 cups.
enough cups at the table for every student to have 1 cup. Rosie.
When you're doing it, do you have to take 1 scoop, pour it out, and take another scoop, or just do it once?
Good question. You'll take 1 scoop and dump it out on the table. Then you'll count, double check, and put all the tools back, and then start a new scoop.
Okay.
The language arts activity in Rhonda Eckenroth's class has 2 parts. She has given directions for the first part of the activity, partner work, and checks in with students to make sure they understand their choices.
Okay. So you really have 4 choices. What's one choice, Angelina?
Draw a picture.
Okay. Another choice, Amaryllis.
Write a sentence.
Taya.
Ask your words.
Okay. You have about 7 minutes. You have the use of any supplies in the room. You're listening for the chime. Find your seat back together when you hear the chime. Okay? Cameron has a question.
What if we have 2 words
Okay, you guys get to pick which one you'd rather work with, which set you'd like to work with. Okay? Go ahead and get working.
When students finish with the partner work, Rhonda gives directions for the second part of the activity and uses modeling to make sure they understand how to be respectful listeners.
Okay. We are going to take about 30 seconds or a little bit more for each pair to present. Let's talk about what you're going to look like if you are not presenting, but you're the audience. What's that going to look like? Are we going to look here? What should we see? If I was watching you watch people, what's that going to look like and sound like? Jornay.
No talking when the speaker's talking.
Okay. Kevin.
Eyes on the speaker.
Okay. Isaiah.
Eyes on whoever's presenting.
Okay.
And you should be like this so people can see your face and hear your words.
Okay, so that's if you're presenting. I'm wondering if you're sitting at a table, there's a lot of things that could distract you. What might you be able to do?
You might clear it up, block it out.
Okay.
Stand up and then move this way.
Watch me be an audience member. Okay, we're working. It's time to present. What do you notice?
Your hands are free.
Hands are free. What else did you notice?
You're not looking at.
Okay. Last thing, Taya.
Go quiet.
Okay. So we're ready to present.
As our visits to these 2 classrooms have shown, taking the time to cue students to stop and listen, clearly name expectations, break directions down into steps, and check for understanding allows children to work independently and to engage more fully in their learning.
25. No. 26.
At the campsite, we saw a beautiful sight.